You can now map out your entire business systems using AI, and it's easier than it's ever been. It used to be that you had to hire high-paid consultants to come in and look at how your business run, literally go step by step through every piece of your business to get you started. It is no longer like this. The simplest way to start mapping out your business is not even to be concerned about the entire business, but to be concerned about what's actually going to make an improvement in your business. So we first call that the constraint. We want to find an area that we want to look at. Now, if you want to grow revenue, as a lot of business owners want to, it would make the most sense to look at the things that are driving revenue, resources, and sales. So typically what I like to do when I come into a business is I first look at what's driving the most sales. It's usually the first question I ask is, where are you getting the majority of your sales? Is it ads? Is it organic? Is it SEO? And from there, we look at how we're gonna amplify that. So what we wanna do, in this case, I'm gonna use a simple example of Google Ads, because a lot of Google Ads drive B2B sales pretty easily because it's very high intent and can be pretty affordable depending on your market. Before we jump into the actual example, the tool I'm gonna use is Whimsical. I'm not sponsored. I'm not gonna throw down an affiliate link. I don't care. I want to show you how you can actually do this in the quickest way, and then why it matters so you can actually grow your business. Now, with Whimsical, you can do things like mind maps, wireframe diagrams, normal boards, flowcharts, and it does a whole bunch of other things. But the cool thing is they just released their AI integration, merge them together to get my flowchart, and then I use it to grow my business. And that's the biggest thing. So make sure to stick around till the end of this, where I show you how to actually grow your business from this. So we'll come in here, and the first thing I'm gonna do is I have an account already open, and this is what it looks like. It's just a blank board. So in here, you can create a new board, super simple. And on the right side, you'll now see a new ask. And I'm gonna use a dictation. I'm gonna walk it through the example that I talked about. Hey chat, I wanted to design a quick flow chart diagram. I'm gonna put this into another software. So just help me walk through the steps of a client journey when they come in from Google Ads. So my goal is to grow revenue in my business, and I wanna understand every piece of what that client goes through or that lead goes through before they become a client. So for my clients, typically what happens is they have high intent and they Google us, and then or they'll Google a service solution for public relations or systems or revenue ops growth. And then once they find that, they'll click on the link, they'll see a landing page. A lot of times they'll book directly. Sometimes they'll close out and Google us after, check out our reviews, check out other case studies, they'll look at it a little bit deeper before they book a call. So sometimes it's directly through that Google ad landing page. Sometimes it's organically, and we can track it back to that Google ad click. They'll schedule a call because ours is book direct. So after they book direct, they get some automatic email notifications with a webinar and some more information to make sure they show up to the call, some educational information, but we're very careful not to overwhelm them with the information that we're providing. So it's very strategic touches at the right time. And we do give them a discount if they watch that webinar. Now, from there, our goal is to have them show to a call, and then they have the call. Our team will either phone close or they'll do it over a two-step close, where the next step, if they don't phone close, once they send that proposal, ideally on the call, they've booked a follow-up call. And then from there, we have obviously our normal drop-off. So let's map that out. Okay, so now that's loading. That was what I would do for a normal process. It's gonna hopefully work, and it'll give me an example, and it will probably give me a stick figure map. And you could have, yeah, perfect. That's exactly what I wanted. So it gives me this, which is very useful and helpful. I can't drag and drop. I can't really easily edit it, and I can't save this or store it or use it that well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this over, and then I know my process pretty well. You may not know your process as well, so you might have to bring in your agency that you're working with or your team, whoever's running it for you. Just depends on how involved you are in that specific role. If you don't know my background, my name is Scott Bartnick. I'm a 2x Inc. 5000 CEO. I have been building systems for over 1,000 businesses over the last 10 years, including Fortune 500 companies, a lot of companies you've heard of like Alibaba. If you're interested in building systems in your business and potentially working directly with me, right now I have 2 open spots, and I very rarely have open spots, and I never take sales calls myself. But I'm going to for a very limited time. So if you're interested, click that link down below. But anyways, we're going to take that process. We're going to throw it right in here. Now, the nice piece about this is the AI. It's going to be so quick. So we just talked through that system, and now we're implementing it into a flowchart. The reason why we want to do this is to actually solve the constraint in our business. We know the process now. So we spent time, and obviously you can go back and forth with it and chart and make changes and answer questions. So let me close this so you can see a little bit better. So this is something that you can obviously modify and change, but this gets you started really quickly. This is something that consultants charge thousands and thousands of dollars for. Now, the biggest next step is we determine that this is the highest lever that we can pull as a whole, but where in this lever do we actually want to improve it? So now the most important part of mapping this out is not the process of mapping it out, but it's determining the metrics behind it and sharing it with your team. So we have an idea of what this flow looks like. And if we were working with a media buying agency, we could start looking at what they can do versus what the company can do itself. So in here, what we're going to do is I'm going to use made up numbers to just give us an example and walk through how we turn this flowchart or diagram of our system into reducing the constraints in our business and actually growing revenue in the most affordable way. So we can talk through each step quickly, but I'm gonna go highlight the key ones. So top of funnel, if we were spending more money on Google Ads, we could potentially grow our business. So if we're spending $5,000 and we increase it to $10,000, ideally we'd bring in more sales. However, sometimes we become less targeted, or we're spending too much, or we're competing with ourselves and our conversion rates drop. Our click-through rates actually drop or don't increase at the same rate. So let's just say you're getting a 4% booked rate from Google Ads and you double your spend and now you're getting a 3%. So yes, you're growing it, but it might not be the most efficient way to spend that money. And you might actually start losing money depending on your cost of lead and your conversion rates. So there's a lot to think in there, each step of it. So let's just say we're going to leave ads alone. The next piece of that is your landing page, the page that Google's driving you to. So let's just say you determine your conversion rate of that landing page and you're converting at 20% of that high intent traffic to a booked call. So maybe you experiment with A/B testing, you add a VSL and you go slowly through different variations to improve that landing page. And maybe you're able to get that to 30%. Now that change dramatically increase the business because it's going to lead to more sales without every month spending more money on ads. So we used a lever that's in a sense more affordable. We paid for a VSL, or we adjusted the copy, or we slightly tweaked the offer to make it more enticing to get them on that call. We maybe added a guarantee, reversed risk a little bit. There's a lot of things we can do throughout the funnel to get people to book immediately. Now, I mentioned that a lot of people bounce of that landing page and then go Google the company. So if you don't have a lot of reviews, if you don't have any case studies, this is where just general marketing, while you might not see that initial connection, as you build those reviews, as you're asking customer for reviews, you'll notice that your ads become more efficient and you start getting more bookings. So that one's a little bit longer of a game, but just by asking your clients to give you normal reviews, positive reviews, but through your normal business process, that alone can increase those conversions and bring in more sales. Now, on book calls, typically what we're doing is then they have to show up. So I mentioned that we have a webinar and a few other things. If you don't have key items to help increase the show rate, so if your show rate on a call is 50%, and now one of the key things is we're going to map these numbers into our diagram. So again, I mentioned that we can just we can add this here, we can edit this. This is why it's so much more powerful than just mapping it in chat. And we can save this as a document, we can export it, and we can use AI to add these numbers. But let's just say that our booked rate is whatever it was from above, but then our show rate's only 50%. We can invest a lot in communication to get our show rate up. So if you've ever been to a dentist a lot of time, or a haircut, they call you to remind you. They make sure that you're rescheduling if you can't go. They'll send you text messages, the webinar I mentioned. So there's a lot you can do to increase your show rate. So what you want to do is find the lowest hanging and where you need to invest in first, because let's just say you were spending $5,000 and your show rate was only 50%, but then you go to 10%, then you have other metrics drop a little bit, and maybe even your show rate drops a little bit too. So you may not end up with much more sales, which is the end goal, at all. And that's the key thing of why mapping your systems is so powerful, is understanding where to actually invest. And then you can start mapping this. And as you make changes, you keep track of these metrics, and you can use AI and make a dashboard. You can get really fancy with it, or you can just do it right here in the diagram, and once a week have it reported to by your agency and say, hey, we need these numbers because we want to see what our total outcome is based on where we're investing our time. And if something's slipping, we need to make sure to figure out how to solve that. This is the power behind mapping out your systems and how to actually scale revenue with AI and systems. If you're interested in getting support in building systems into your business that actually move revenue, check out the link below. Again, it is a paid service. You get to work directly with me. And if you're not quite ready yet, I did mention that I have some freebies down below as well. And at least please make sure to subscribe for more videos like this. Thank you.